Welcome back, everybody. We have yet another deck profile because I'm not original and I have lots of people willing to just splay their cards out here. This time we have one of many Alexes that we have at our
This
place.
is the only good Alex in the shop, honestly.
Okay, shots fired.
He's sitting right behind Alex.
There are 5 different Alexes. There's Big Alex, Fat Alex, Alex Sherwood, what's his name?
We have an Alex.
Alex Goldberg, and there's me. And I'm the only one who has like a regional top.
Fair enough. First, before we start, explain.
Huh? Oh, explain this.
Explain.
Cheese to meet you.
It's... Alright, we have Dragonmaids. It's Dragonmaid shenanigans. I'll just let you get right into it.
This deck's really good. Okay, so the reason you want to play this deck is because it has such a good matchup against Virtual World. They can go like Calamities against you, and like you can fusion summon for Shao in the next deck. I'll talk about it later. And then you play on their turn, so like you don't have to like play on your turn under Calamities. You just play on their turn.
Our turn.
Also, there's so much forms of spot removal in this deck. So like when the Virtual World like targets their cards, you just bounce it and like they lose their target, and you have like multiple ways of doing that in this deck. But also has a good matchup against Olich, and there's a really good side deck card in here that just shits on that matchup. But anyway, I'll get started with the deck profile. So we play 3 chambers, 3 parlor. So these are the best ones in your deck. They're both 1-card spheres because you can send Tiding and then link this off for a Striker Dragon and Tiding to bring it back and you make spheres.
This thing shot up in price.
Yeah, this one's like $40 now. This one adds any of your Dragonmaid spells or traps, and this one sends any of your Dragonmaid cards from deck to grave. But you can add your Reborn spell, link this up for Striker Dragon, reborn it back, and make spheres. And spheres is like the heart and soul of this deck almost, because it's like ABCs, but with dragons. Because the pieces get you to Buster, and Buster gets rid of a card, and then Buster makes the pieces again, and then you do it again. For this, you like get this, they get cards, and these make spheres, which is Buster to this deck. And then Buster makes like your Dragon Maids from deck, and then summons these back out, and you do it all again. But these are your heart and soul of the deck. These are the best cards. They're the better starters. Then 3 kitchen, 1 nurse. This is the worst one, but better as the game goes on because she can special summon back any Dragon Maid monster from the graveyard. This one's worse because it's like her but weaker because she adds the Dragon Maid card from your deck to the hand, monster, then she discards 1. So she's only good when you combine her with like your other cards, but you still need a starter in this deck. So you play 3 of her. It's a 50-card deck, so like I would maximize on a little more normal summons so you don't break. Then her dragon forms, 1 Earnest, 1 Tinkek, 1 Lopar. This is the best one. This is like almost the second best one. This is the worst one. So this one's like an honest. You discard it to boost Dragon Maid monster in the field by 2,000 attack. This one you can discard it from your hand during your play's turn, especially summon a Dragon Maid monster from your hand. And this one you can target 1 monster on the field, and it can't activate its effects. So you discard it, target the card on the field, it can't activate its effects. So it's like slower effect veiler, but it's also really good because you just use this and tag into it in the battle phase. So like you don't lose on value.
It plays around a lot of stuff too, because a lot of stuff is in main phase only.
Yeah, like you can target a Macabre with this and they have to negate it, otherwise Macabre doesn't do anything and then you can just play. You can play 2 black metal, 1 red MD, just more starters for the deck. Not much to say about that. The hand traps, 3 ash, 3 bell, 2 rocks. Nothing to say about ash. This is good against Dogmatica and Novice. And this is for like combo decks. It's not really good right now against like Virtual World if they make double Calamities or Drytrons if they have like the.
But like for this local.
Yeah, for locals you just make it for your locals, but this card's still good against those decks. If they don't have it, they don't have it, and you win off of this. If they have it, they have it. It doesn't really matter. Then for the spells, one of the best spells in the game, Hospitality. So this card's insane. So this card's it's a monster born. No, what? It's a will. It's Will of the Salamangreat. So specials from Hand of Grave doesn't target. Then it's also a Foolish Burial. So you can special summon any of your Dragon Maid monsters from Hand or Grave, and then it sends the recording attribute. So you like special this and you send like the wind form, or you special like this and you send the fire form. This card's really good. It's like another extender for the deck. And 1 changeover, this is your fusion spell, so you play it. Then for draw spells, I play 3 Extravagance and 3 Desires.
Extravagance and Desires.
So I play
really?
both because you're playing a 50 card deck. So the chance of you drawing Desires off Desires is low. The chance of you drawing Desires off of this is low. Or this into Desires is low because you're playing too many cards. Like, it doesn't matter. If you draw both, if this gets Ash, you can still Desires after that because this hasn't resolved. Obviously, they have to Ash this or this, which means they're not Ashing your normal summons. If they don't Ash this, you're just drawing more cards, and then they want to Ash like your normal summons anyway. So they have to Ash this. If they're Ashing this, they're losing because they can't Ash this. That's it for that.
So how much do you care about your extra deck since you are playing the Extravagance?
You just can't banish both your fusion monsters, and you can't banish all of your spheres. You can banish all your spheres, but it's not ideal. Then more extenders, 3Ds. This is for the Guard Dragon play, if you want to go into it. If you don't banish your like All Mirage or your LP off of it, you can go into that. Monster Borns is good. One Call by the Grave is like a trap card against a lot of decks. You just hit Ben 10, you can't summon. You hit like some of the virtual world cards they can't summon. Good against Eldritch, you just banish Eldritch. Or you banish the Alistair, and like you miss the target in the graveyard. Cards is good. Protects your normal summons from Ash too. But this is the best card in the deck right here. 3 Tidy. So the only reason I wanted to play this deck was because of this card. So this card is insane. It's Altergeist Silkwitous. The first time you use it, because you target a dragon card on your field and one on their field and in their graveyard or in the grave, and you bounce it to their hand. Not sure why you bounce anything in grave, but you can. But it's a spot removal or interruption the first time you use it. But the second time you use it, it's like a will to Salamander because you can banish it and special summon a Dragonmaid monster from hand or grave.
Yeah, this card is ridiculous.
This card is ridiculous. It's one of the best cards in the deck. Then for the other traps, 3 in Perm. Not really good, but change it to your locals. A lot of people here play Dogmatica, so why not? 2 Ice Dragons, 2 Down Ambitious, and 3 Judgments.
Oh, look at that. Those are beautiful.
So as I was talking about for the spot removal, like this is spot removal, this is spot removal, Spheres is spot removal. You just have a lot of ways of just removing the virtual world cards on the field. So this doesn't have like a bad virtual world matchup. For the extra deck, we play Mirage for the Guard Dragon combo for these 2. 1 Striker Dragon and this thing. So you only really played it. You don't play. What's the spell card for this?
Yeah, Boot Sector.
Yeah, Boot Sector. You don't play Boot Sector. You play this because if you have Red MD, you don't want to banish these because you want to banish this instead because it doesn't really do anything for you. And this, you can summon off of this with the Dino Vicious. And it's a dragon, so you can make the best card in this deck, Spheres. This is your Buster right here. And I'll show you like how fast this deck snowballs. It's just like Altergeist, but like way faster. Then play 3 House, 3 Shao. This is the ones you can't banish both of. You can't banish all 3 of these, you can't banish all 3 of these. And this thing has another fusion target. This thing right here just gets you so much value. Like, on a standby phase, especially summons a Dragonmaid monster back from the graveyard, and those Dragonmaid monsters get their effects. And like, if you summon Nurse, it summons another one, so you just summon a bunch. And like, this card just goes +2. Like, if it stays up, it goes +2. Then it negates something, and like, it just gets so much value. Then it turns into this if you negate something. This one's like a Titan, where if you return a Dragonmaid card to your hand, it pops a card on the field, and it's not much returns. Enough of that. Side deck. 3 Gamma, 1 Driver. You're playing a 50 card deck, so the chance of you seeing this is low, which makes like this more impactful because you don't have to like draw this and it's bricky. But this deck takes advantage of this the most because sometimes you just make Spheres pass and you bounce something. And, like if they try to ask you, you gamma them, or you Extravagance, you gamma them. This card is really good in this deck because you usually have an empty field. 2 Meisters for Virtual Roll over Drytrons, Equitos because it's good going second. Cosmic for back row, this thing's for back row as well. This card's really good if you can go first against Virtual Roll or Drytrons.
That like does nothing to you.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything to me, but like even the Dogmatica package, like they summon a spellcaster or a zombie, you lock them to that, turn off one of their like engines, unless they like go Nadir. That's okay. Then this is the best card in that side deck. 1 downtime.
Really?
So, exclusive only to this archetype, this card is insane against Eldritch. This card makes any control matchup a buy. Because what it does is that it targets one of your Dragonmaid cards, returns it to your hand, and returns a spell or trap to their hand. It's a continuous trap, so you can keep doing this over and over. But you don't... the second effect is also that you can return one to your hand, and then add another Dragonmaid card. So if they try to use their Eldritch spells or traps, like they go Sanguine, Conquistador, you like chain this, bounce back Conquistador, it never hits the graveyard, so they're losing out on value. You add your Dragonmaid card to your hand, and then you resolve your Dragonmaid effect. Or if they go Punishment, target your Dragonmaid, you just use this to return to your hand. They don't have the target, so they don't send anything. You get your card, and then it adds another card.
That is broken.
Yeah, it's really broken. But like, what's really crazy is like with this, like usually you make this and you have like some Dragonmaid cards in the graveyard, like say you had like Nurse or this thing, because like you can fuse with this in your hand or something. Like Shroud can bring back Nurse, then Nurse can bring back this, and then this can like add you a spell or trap. So like you see how this deck's gonna start to snowball. Like then you add your Hospitality, your Monster Born for next turn. Or it's like the same thing with this. Like Spheres needs 2 dragons to make it, so like you use this. Or use the Parlor, because they're both 1-card spheres after all. So like you use one of these guys to make spheres, and then when spheres bounces something, you get a special Nurse. The Nurse specials like this, and then Parlor sends the trap to your deck to grave, and then you banish it from your graveyard to special summon another Dragonmaid monster. And this one adds you like this again. So you just went +4.
Essentially, you're always going to have a play, and if you can't be stopped, they're like not.
Yeah, this deck is like Altergeist, and the fact that it snowballs really quickly was like its own thing. Like it can do a combo, and it can put 8,000 damage on the board if you just like pass. Like with Altergeist, you can pass, and they literally can't put 8,000 damage. Like you can just pass with an empty board. They can't do 8,000 damage. This deck will do 8,000 damage to you, so you don't want to pass on them.
Is there anything you're like really afraid of as far as like disruption or traps, or do you not really care about most anything?
This deck has a really good control matchup because of the cards you play. You play cards like Tidying, which is good against like Floodgate cards, or like Conquistador, or any of the Eldritch cards, because you just bounce it. And this card's really good. And like then it's an extender after that. So like you bounce something, so they lose like an interruption, but then it's an extender, so you don't lose like anything. So they have to use another interruption to stop your extender. And this card's just really good against Eldritch and this card. So this card is like half control, half combo, where you just make this and like this. Like you might use your whole hand to make both these cards. Like it looks like you neg 2 to make this the board like this, but this card gets it all back, so you don't neg at all. And then this card gets you more cards, so you don't neg ever.
So essentially, you're always going to have at least some type of resource, and you'll be able to still snowball from there.
Yeah, this deck snowballs really quickly if you let it. But yeah, that's about it.
All right, thank you for sharing, my good sir. Thank everybody for tuning in, and hope you all have a great rest of the day.